The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
Good yawning this morning and welcome back to Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, your station for fresh news, smart talk all day. It is Tuesday, 17th of February, 2026, and you are on the clock with Misery Greene. As you could tell, we are 3 days after Valentine's Day, and I have assessed all of the love that was sent to me. And let me just say that I want to say thank you to all the people that sent love to me. I want to say, where are you, all the people who were supposed to send love in the form of cash to me? Anyway, this is my time to remind you that misery is a perpetual energy generator, because if you're comfortable, you're not going to shift. It takes discomfort to make a move. Oh, there's a Bahamian song producer. I can get you to play that song in the break. You know the song, give her one and she make a move? Give her two and she do something. Anyway, the producer knows the song I'm talking about. We're going to play that in the break. Welcome back. Continuing our discussion with Sonia Farmer and members of the Lucayan Archipelago Residency 2026 and the Poinciana Paper Press Residency 2026. In the first part of our discussion, we talked about Poinciana Paper Press. We did a dive into the residency and its partners. We're going to get back to the residency a bit. Now we're going to take a bit of time to look at the artist profiles, right? I want to hear more about the artists, but more importantly, a snapshot into the work and lives of 4 phenomenal artists. And then number 5, Sonia Farmer, who thinks she's not a part of this discussion. 5 phenomenal artists that have just collaborated, I think, to create the most wonderful artistic and creative experiences for themselves and everyone around them. So I'm starting with Sonia. I'm going to have everybody introduce themselves and tell us a bit about your practice.
Okay, sure. Good morning, and thank you, Erin, again for having us on, by the way. Thank you. And thanks for being part of the Poinciana Paper Press community.
Hey.
So my name is Sonia Farmer, and I am the founding director of Poinciana Paper Press, which is a center for writing, book arts, and publishing. That just means that at Poinciana Paper Press, we are all about the book. So we love to read books. We have a book club, of course, but we also make books through conventional and unconventional means. So mostly by hand, using analog processes, letterpress printing, paper making, calligraphy, sewing books by hand. And I teach workshops to do these things at Poinciana Paper Press, but I also have other opportunities like the residencies that we were with the residents here today. I am also an artist and writer who were making books, handmade books. So that's why Poinciana Paper Press exists. I wanted to create a community for folks to learn more about book arts and the empowering act of making your own books. It's quite easy. It can also be very, very intricate and difficult, but it can also be very simple. So we do everything there, from the zine to the limited edition artist book that's like made with letterpress and handset type and all of that stuff.
I would say how the experience of reading a book or work changes when the book containing the work was also made by the artist or in collaboration with the artist.
And is very much a part of the narrative. You know, I mean, I think when we think about conventional books published today, like trade publications, you know, we think of them as like just vessels, inactive vessels of the narrative. They're not. I mean, even traditional book design takes a lot of it takes a lot of skill and design work. Even just choosing the typeface, for example, can really say something powerful about what you're reading. But if you're not thinking about the reading experience, then the designer has done their work. But at Poinciana Paper Press, we make books by hand that are very much within the narrative and carrying the narrative.
And when she says we, she means novices like me. I was able to make 3 books along with these award-winning artists, right, in the same session. So it's accessible. The tools are easy to work with. The instructions are clear.
Thank you. I do really like to teach, so teaching is a big part of the residency. Also because Book arts is a fairly, I would say, like untapped maybe medium, or a medium that's not engaged with so much in the Caribbean space. So, whenever press, part of it is getting the residents to try out different kinds of bookmaking activities. So learning about making a book by hand, learning about letterpress printing, learning about making paper by hand, maybe some other printmaking methods that could intersect with their interests and making books. So for this residency, we did a little bit of everything.
Okay.
It was great.
Oh, yeah.
I had a great time.
Absolutely.
All the week.
All right. So Tracy, who you pointing to? Who should go next?
Me?
Natalie.
Am I introducing myself?
Okay, and I can be honest with you, Natalie. If you miss anything out, I can fill it in.
Okay, thank you, because I actually could need that. See, we all good people here, but we be forgetting all the things that we be doing and contributing. So thank you. We need people to remind us. I am Natalie Willis-Wiley. I am a writer, curator, prodigal artist, and I also serve as the Caribbean editor-at-large for Burnaway, which is an art magazine dedicated to contemporary art writing from the South and the Caribbean.
Contemporary art writing.
Yes.
I know about contemporary art. What is art writing?
Art writing is, I feel, and at least this is the way I approach it, is it should be a way to make contemporary art accessible to people. It's like a way to kind of engage further in the discourse that like is coming out of like the work that you're seeing. And it's supposed to be, I think, a way for people to be able to like, kind of like share something and be like, hey, did you see this? What do you think about this? Like, you know what I mean?
All right.
So it's just, I think it's supposed to be kind of like a conversational point. It's supposed to be a way for people to think through things.
No, I appreciate it. When I did my art show, Redwood Chipper, people may know as Mr. Murray, but Redwood Chipper now he curated my show. And the way that they transformed the space, but that's just that little description.
Right.
Just a little description, right? Like it, and I could see the audience reading it and connecting.
And this was at the Hub.
Right, this was at the Hub.
At the Hub.
I wish I was.
Poinciana Paper Press would not exist without the Hub.
I was going to say, this is in the same lineage, right? Like, because I wasn't here for the Hub, but I heard about the Hub.
Because you was in Grand Bahama, right?
Right. I was in Grand Bahama, or was I in the UK then, maybe studying? I don't know. But either way, because the Hub, I think around that time, like, I moved to Nassau in 2015. So, like, I think the Hub...
that was a bit late.
Right,
Yeah, that was a bit late. All right, so, listen, there's something that I read about your time at the National Art Gallery of the Bahamas, that you introduced a new style of presentation. And
in a certain sense.
You expanded what we think about when we think about contemporary arts writing. Tell us what function, what role were you in at the gallery, and what was it that you introduced?
So when I was at the museum, I worked in a curatorial capacity like the whole time. So from I started in 2015, I was a curatorial assistant, and then I moved up. And by the time I left in 2021, I was assistant curator. And I was the first curator to have a show that was dedicated, one, to Black women artists of the Bahamas. That was one thing. That was a huge thing for me.
Black women artists of the Bahamas.
Right.
Good
period.
stuff, yeah.
That's one. And then the second, and this is something I hope will be kind of reintroduced more, to try and actually like include our wider community. But I also introduced having the wall text, the writing that we have on the walls in the museum to help guide people through and, have like the story of what's going on. I made sure it was also in Creole because that's the second most spoken language in the Bahamas.
Yeah.
Just that. I feel like we should be serving our entire community.
Oh.
I don't know why that's a radical thing, but it really was to a lot of people.
Yeah, but I like how you just normalize it. You just
'Cause it
my
is
pretty friend,
normal.
you just make it normal, right?
Right. Normal.
Normal. All right, so where's your practice? Where do you practice now primarily? Is it Grand Bahama? Is it New Providence? Is it in the, what do we call it?
Right.
Right? Like in that space where we can collaborate without proximity?
Right. I very much work from home since the pandemic. I am really, honestly, like, that's one of the few, I think, good things that came out of such a horrific time for everybody is that for me, working from home is a great thing. It also, at that time, and this is, I think, the reason that I'm able to have, in part, the career that I have now, but, like, at that time, like, the Caribbean, I think, as a space, like, we kind of, in the best way, like, collapsed in on ourselves when it came to, like, communication. Like, it was just, things got flattened and easy. You know what I mean? Like, we had a lot better, I think, communication between, like, different folks in different, like, regions, different islands. Everybody was trying to engage because everybody was home. So I work from home, and I used to be very, very embedded in the art community in Nassau because I've been living here since 2015. But I'm more now, I would say, I work, I think, within the wider Caribbean just because of the job that I have now as well. So, yeah.
Okay. All right. Now, I found a piece of work by you. I haven't gotten into it yet. It was too late. And when y'all hear the title, y'all will understand. It was too late for me to be thinking all of those thoughts. But
You're good.
Cutlass Calling, the Machete Siren Song of Feminine Sovereignty.
Yes. So that was a piece that I wrote for Burnaway, the magazine that I work for. We have a printed reader every year. Actually, Burnaway also shares a lot of, I think, key interests with the Poinciana Paper Press in terms of like zines and like publishing in that kind of way, and kind of like trying to be subversive in your publishing,
Radical
trying to be
publishing.
accessible. Right.
All right.
So for me, that's kind of great because I get space to write stuff like this, which is just looking at, how generally the way that we look at like the machete or the cutlass, it tends to be read as a sort of masculine object. It's kind of seen as like a symbol of violence and agriculture and revolution, right? And a lot of those things kind of just seem to bring up these connotations of like men the whole time within the region, period. We were key, integral. So for me, it's just kind of really nice to have dedicated space to look at the ways that Caribbean women artists, and specifically I was looking at Bahamian women artists, how we use the cutlass in like the artwork that we have. So I was looking at the work of Tamika Galanis and Reagan Kemp.
Yeah. Tamika Galanis and Reagan Kemp.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, we're going to move around a bit, but prepare yourselves because I have a question that I'm going to get to everyone, including you, Ms. Farmer. If you had to describe your practice, your body of work with just one piece, or yourself as an artist with one piece, which piece would you choose? But let's go to, who are we going to next? Let's go to Kiarel.
Let's go.
Okay.
Cocoa Plum Queen.
Hello again. Before I start, I just want to say thank you to Sonia and Fresh Milk and everybody on this residency. It's been truly amazing. It's been amazing working along with Tracy and Lisa and Natalie and Sonia and everybody. So I'll start with this piece I wear around my neck, which you can't see, but it's a Sankofa bird. And it's a Ghanaian symbol, which means to know your past in order to go forward. So basically, it's looking backward, but moving forward. It's not staying in the past. A lot of times people talk about our history as if it's something in the past, and we need to move on from that. And how can we how can we move on from that when everything is very much as it was, just in a different form? We live it every day. So the things I look at in my work are entanglement, ruination, and mental well-being. And there are three themes that run through my work. I look at my own migration. I was born in the UK. I was brought to Dominica as a child. Then I was picked up as a teenager, brought back to the UK. And then I decided to finally move back to Dominica 8 years ago after Maria, which really wrecked the island. So Maria, it's all connected. It's all entangled. And that's how I look at my practice and my work. So I use a lot of, I use textiles as a way of playing with metaphor, like pulling threads and weaving things back in. So that's, a lot of my work is about distressing something, putting it back together, pulling things to pieces. And I guess that's where, I've always loved nature. Dominica is a nature isle, but that's, it's a little bit of contention sometimes because of the things that go on in a nature isle, how development, how tourism is promoted, and what our focus is, and current things we got going on at the minute, like building an international airport, which, again, I'm not, I mean, again, what price do you pay for development? So, yeah. As a person, I love growing things. That's one of the reasons for moving back to Dominica, as well as to be with my mum. Family is important, very important to me. And it's very sad to see a lot of elderly people on their own these days. That family connection is being lost due to migration. So that's why I say it's all entangled. It's like, how can you separate one thing from another? It's like a whole fabric of woven stuff. And So when I speak very into the other because life does. So at home in Dominica, I grow things. I grow my own dye materials. So I grow ruku, which is very important to me because it represents our indigenous population in Dominica, which are, again, very much undervalued. Their history has been swept aside, and the people have been very mistreated.
Who are the indigenous people of Dominica? I know of I met the Garifuna when I was in St. Vincent, right? I learned about them. Who are the indigenous people of Dominica?
Okay. They describe themselves as Kalinago these days, and basically our area of Dominica has been set aside for them. And again, which is
Also contentious,
there's a lot that comes with that. There's a now new female chief who is amazing, Annette Sanford. She's doing some amazing things, and the people are trying to establish their culture and heritage and refine themselves and regain pride in themselves. So I don't know if I have indigenous Kalinago roots, but it's something I'm looking at because I may have. I just recently found out my great-great-grandfather might have been. I connect very much with my African roots, even though I've never been to Africa. It's what I feel kind of connected to. In Dominica, the kind of entanglement of the cultures is quite interesting, something. Yeah, so the Kalinago people, they live very much on the land. They live in the area. They're very much connected to the land. A lot of the houses were built with straw roofs, again, like construction that goes back to the land. But again, because of hurricanes, people are building more in concrete, and the government's given concrete homes to people whose houses have been destroyed.
All right. I read about your the award that you got from the Textile Society UK for research, and your engagement with the World Reimagined UK Commission, right? And the award was for your natural dye research, right? Of all the dyes that you have come upon, which one has been like the most exciting or like dynamic experience? You say, yeah, that one, that was the most fun.
Okay, until the cocoa plum, I would say logwood was the most interesting for me because of its connection with transatlantic slave trade, but also because of its fugitive nature. It was actually banned in England for over 100 years because of its fugitive nature, and it was prone to fading. So I would say that was that. So I'm very interested because it can't be controlled. I'm quite interested in that element of life, like Dominican people. We always say there's no rules, there's no, and I like that kind of maroon spirit that can't be controlled So logwood and now cocoa plum, which I'm going to do more investigation into. And ruku, again, so the three of them. I don't know if there's one particular favorite.
All right. Well, I expect that from artists. How do you
favorite child?
how do you choose which child is your favorite? You're certainly not in front of their face.
No, they all have different elements,
Absolutely.
I'm Lisa Codella, yes.
Yes, ma'am.
And I like to say I play in dirt. I'm a ceramic artist, if you want to be polite about it. But I came to it later it's like kind of a second career situation. So the first half of my work was all about public relations and working in corporate settings until that just was not fulfilling anymore. And so I decided, the thing that I want to do is the thing I'm afraid to do all along. I've been wanting to be an artist. I've been wanting to write and work with pottery. So I went ahead and took that step. And I haven't looked back since. It's all been about this kind of the feeling like I'm trying to catch up with all the learning, but it's not a frantic trying to catch up. It's just being a sponge, and I want to know all about everything and see how I can funnel that into what I want to work on next. So with my ceramic work, I'm really drawn to. I do wheel throwing and hand building, but I love to make use of rough edges and making marks on ceramic piece and just using a minor amount of glazes. I like to use stains rather than too many glazing because I feel like I want my pieces to look weathered and worn. I love that wabi-sabi kind of broken down feel that makes you turn back and appreciate every stage of a thing's beauty and look at that in terms of one's life as well.
All right.
So.
But you're not just a ceramics artist.
I also write.
Yes, and you don't just write. You write about the things, about the chickchanis and the things in the bush and peeking out of the blue hole above the water.
Right. So I think my creative unfolding has been in kind of two phases so far. So the first phase has been the visual arts ceramic phase, but all along I had very much fairy tale, mythological, folk tales. Those have always fascinated me. From the time I was a child, of course, you start with fairy tales, and I've never stopped with the fairy tales. But as a child reading fairy tales, I never saw myself. I remember, I went back and looked for the piece, because I have a book that I've had since I was 8, very worn, a collection of fairy tales from around the world. And they mentioned, it was a story from, I think it was from Russia, about kings and knights, and there was a little black slave girl.
That's the only
That was the only mention. That was when I was in the story.
Yeah.
So, it kind of forces you to use your imagination in other ways, but it's so much more helpful if you have stories that actually you can see yourself in. And that's what I would like to do. I'm creating stories along with my co-writer, my partner, my daughter. We're writing a collection of short stories that take another look at Bahamian mythology, creating new mythologies, and trying to create a reflection of what it means to be Bahamian in the kaleidoscope that it actually is, that it's not just one fine line to be Bahamian. There's so many ways that we express our Bahamianness, and we want those stories to be told for all ages, but from a perspective that really reflects our own mystical nature and very layered culture.
I say to people all the time, don't tell me that Chichani isn't real and then try to tell me that the Roman gods are real and the Greek gods are real, but my Chichani isn't real?
Exactly.
I know the Chichani origin story, right? I know the coloring story, the coloring ceremony. I know these things the same way you all know these things. We can create our own myths so we can live them, right, for our own purposes.
Exactly. And the very real danger is when we don't tell our own stories.
Somebody will tell it for us.
Somebody will tell you who you are.
Good morning, Disney. It's always a pleasure to see you.
Exactly.
Always friends.
Yeah. And not only that, on the rare occasion that, let's say, what is happening is there's been a real dilution of our storytelling. We're losing some of them. Yeah. But somebody from a studio, some executive is going to be here on vacation and hear a story and take it.
The most recent Disney classic, Luca. We have the Lutzka.
That's right, right? Lutzka.
Right, half shark, half octopus, half mythical, half mythical too. It doesn't matter. The point is, it's ours.
It's ours.
And stories told over and over again, in Antris in particular, right, which is why it sticks to me. So I know a Bahamian woman who tells me all the time, when she was growing up, her caretakers, the people in her family and the people in her community, in her village, they used to tell them that story all the time.
But now there's so many other things competing for the attention, for all of our attention, but especially the attention of kids. So we don't have those communal moments where we sit and tell those stories, but we have other spaces where we could still be doing that.
That's all right.
And we should still be doing that.
I'm going to get back on it. I'm going to tell all these little grand and great-grandchildren around here that Jay-Z and Beyonce is the 6th prime minister and spouse of the Bahamas. We can just lie. Listen, other people are lying to them.
Yeah.
Lie to them for a good purpose and bring them back into the fold. And let them to discover the truth within themselves, right? The lie is to bring them back to themselves.
And help them to realize that stories are not just things for consumption; they're things for creation as well. Nobody has to confer the right upon you to tell a story.
Right. Absolutely.
You tell your story from your imagination. I heard someone refer to imagination infrastructure, and that really struck me because when you want to build a building, you draw plans. It all starts up there. If you want to build a nation, if you want to build a people of a certain character, you have to help them realize that they have the power to imagine what that is.
And any leader, since we approach an election, y'all, they're not in the studio right now. Any leader has to be able to create a collective vision. Their people to that vision, to that goal, to realizing and actualizing that vision, right? It's so very important. I say that audacity and imagination are the two most powerful tools in the revolutionaries' toolkit. I used to be an anti-capitalist, imperialist activist, and then I realized, no. I am imagining beyond those things, right? Because whatever we produce as anti-capitalist is still within the same realm of capitalism, born from capitalism. We need to imagine beyond these constructs that hold us down. Okay, now I don't want you all to be jealous. Miss Tracy Asing is my mentor. She don't know she's my mentor. Her whole residency, right? Because I've been at the press making zines, right?
We can fight.
And it
She's my
turns out,
mentor.
but you from Grand Bahama, you can call it Porky, and then we can fight.
You can get fucked.
I'm at the press making zines, and we have Tracy Asing in the building from Trinidad and Tobago. The zine, can I call you the zine indigenous queen?
Oh, I love it. I love it.
yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, I mean, those three descriptors have come together in different ways over time.
Good stuff.
Yeah. Okay, so, I'm a writer, and I wouldn't say that I don't, I sometimes say I don't traffic in the lies, although I have a lot of room for creative thinking and imagination, but my work is in nonfiction, and I say that underlined twice, capital letters. More so, I would say, because of my indigenous history. And growing up, I would say at school, you learn very early on that the person who writes the story has the power, right? And that was to claim because of all of the lies that made up what we understand to be the history of indigenous people, and I would go so far as to say not just in Trinidad and Tobago, but throughout the Caribbean. Because, the narrative was, Columbus landed and, the space was terra nullius. There was nothing there. Certainly there was nothing there, or there was savages. Meanwhile, indigenous people were operating with advanced technology, okay? I make arguments for ancestral intelligence, which I think is the better AI, right? Because we were literally living in the future. When you think about, don't watch the hammock slide, don't watch the construction of housing using natural materials slide, don't watch bush medicine slide. And there was also the narrative that, of course, we were lazy because they found us in our hammocks, or we were just, chilling, smoking tobacco, which has also been demonized, okay? Because tobacco is also a master plant capable of healing. So I mean, I sometimes say, yeah, we were lazy because we knew we didn't have to sign up for a 9-to-5. We knew that there was clean water in the river and in the spring. We could just dip our hand and drink it. Of course, that's different now, but hey, that's progress, right? We knew that there was medicine and good food growing out of the land, and the only real estate we had to worry about was our hammocks, which we could move anytime, when the shade ran out, when the food ran out, if we just felt like moving around. And so to me, we were already living in the future, and capitalism has set us back greatly. So that's like a little bit about my own creative ethos. That kind of thinking is behind everything that I approach. I've done a lot of essays. I do some poetry. I've also produced and directed a couple of documentaries. One of them called The Amerindians, which I made free to view on YouTube a few years ago, which is, or was, because now there are lots more documentaries in this exploring this area.
Let me say it. First film on the subject of indigenous survival in the English-speaking Caribbean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the story is decimation. It's a lie. Right? It's a story of survival. You know, I don't want to really advocate too heavily for DNA testing because we don't know what they do with that information. But I want to say that, you know, just like they found in Puerto Rico several years ago, where it was more than 80% of the population was found to have indigenous roots, I would say, like, you know, around the Caribbean, we might find those kinds of results.
Absolutely.
And one of the things that came to us in one of our first tours here, in the Bahamas, I remember a guide saying, you know, there's no trace at all of the Lucayans, right? But then we went to Andros, and, you know, like, even if you experience the forest there for, like, let's say half an hour, like, you can tell a horse can't make it 3 meters into the forest there. Its leg is going to be broken. And if the horse wasn't going, the imperialist wasn't going on his 2 feet. So the idea that there were not people surviving and thriving out there
In their landscape.
with the people on the run from the Americas also met. I mean, the Seminole, you know, like there were people there who they would have met and they would have learned how to survive on these islands. So, you know, we need to really move away from this idea of indigenous decimation.
It's erasure.
Yeah. And the other thing that I do is that I'm part of a collective that runs this zine called Spec. And, you know, it's also carried that ethos also. It's about access. It's about access. It's about recognizing the power of the pen. It's about recognizing the power of a single sheet of paper.
This is a great time for us to take a break. I can catch my breath. I'm too excited. I have plenty more questions to ask. And Trace and I have to talk about what it means to be the Indigenous Zine Queen. Stay tuned. We're going to a quick break. 96.9 FM. We'll be right back.
Put more money back in your pocket with the Fidelity Debt Consolidation Loan. Why pay more when you can pay less? Reduce your monthly debt payments down to one low, easy payment. Apply for a Fidelity Debt Consolidation Loan today. Call 356-7764.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
Love the show? Want to give your support? Become a sponsor today. Call 302-2300 for our rates and packages. That's 302-2300. Become a sponsor on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
The following is a paid political message.
Find it here. You're looking for truth. Find it here. Vote for MacGyver. She's here for you. See everybody in Kalani. Change is here. Hey. Hands in the air. See everybody in Kalani. Vote for MacGyver. She is a fighter.
That was a paid political message. This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com. and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas.
Welcome back to Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. You're on the clock with Erin Greene. I'm using my regular name this time because I'm an artist too, and I need you all to know who I am. We just sort of paused talking to Tracy Assing about her work. And she talked about the fact that she's made a film, she writes nonfiction, but she does so much more than that. Trace, tell us more about yourself, man.
You know, as I was saying at the end there, I started working on this zine with a few friends, about 2 years ago. And it was really aimed at sort of shining some light on the unseen. You know, the focus was on younger, developing experimental artists, even if they were older, whatever. But we wanted to provide this kind of avenue for them to share their work in a way that was very accessible. The zine is produced for free. What we do is we work with about 6 different artists, writers, and fine artists, and we kind of encourage collaboration. But for me, the zine, that aspect of my career isn't just about, okay, I'm leading this zine collective. As I said before the break, it's very much about access. So sometimes someone will come to me and they'll be like, how do I get in the zine? I'll be like, I'll do one better. Let me show you how to create your own zine.
That's right.
So then we promote your work. You know, I don't want anybody to get caught up in, whether I approve your work or not.
Gatekeeping.
You
out of
know,
nowhere.
it is very much about what you feel that you want to produce. You know, in Trinidad, I would say in many ways, traditional media has failed a lot of rural communities as it's gone on, speeding toward development, quote unquote. And so, I very much am keen on, like, if I visit an end of the road community, why can't they have a zine too?
Right.
I want to teach them how to make a zine so that, I can go into the community and I would willingly pay $5. It comes out once a month or whatever to find out a story from the community, a human interest story, to find out what is a myth from the place, like a great photograph, the beginnings of a graphic novel.
Yes.
You see, these people have to pass through the eye of the needle in order to be seen. And I don't believe that, I'm sure initially the internet was thought of as an equalizing space, but it is definitely not. I don't want to break your hearts by saying this, but it really is up to an algorithm. So you could have the best work and you're putting it out there every day, every week, and it doesn't get seen by the people you want to see it. And this zine promotion is, or the development of the idea and more zines is very much about people taking their power back, and also creating these documents, these things that can be archived, sometimes sculptural. Right? And so just kind of, access.
Yes.
Which is why it's free. And we have workshops for all ages, and they're always extremely well attended. We have had great support from the Bocas Lit Fest in Trinidad, and also from Alice Yard in Trinidad. Alice Yard is this experimental art space, which is more or less led by Chris Cozier, Nicholas Laughlin, and a few others.
Now, when they say experimental, they don't mean they just trying it out to see if it could work. It's an established art space that creates space for experimental work.
Exactly.
Dedicated to
Established
contemporary work.
and developing artists often collaborate there. You can experience anything from film to music, a zine workshop, or even creating mass. Creating children's mass.
That's the Junkanoo.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's Trinidad Junkanoo.
Creating certain traditional characters in the Trinidad Carnival, because essentially the Panyard, the Mass Camp, the Junkanoo Camp, those are all cultural art spaces as well, and do not enjoy the same kinds of attention and support. But often those are the spaces where young people are able to access, art making in a really kind of no frills, unrestricted manner. And sometimes that births ideas which can develop into more complex expressions. And I think that those seeds need to be nurtured. Absolutely. In all of those spaces.
All right. Like, awesome. I have a more important question for you. What was your most enjoyable or your favorite or most unexpected part of the residency? I think it was cutting down the banana stalk.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I think it is.
The day I got to whip out that cutlass was a holy day indeed.
Let me see.
All women just
let me
need
tell you
cutlass.
something. I was supposed to cut the banana stalk, but from she heard it's cutting time, she found the cutlass and was there.
Chappy.
Yes.
Let's go.
Not once, but twice.
That's true.
Because once for that workshop and then to create the covers
for
the
our
books
book.
in our
yeah,
show.
yeah. We're cutting down banana paper for our paper making workshop. So we
Yeah.
made handmade paper out of banana stalk. Yeah.
Which
Yeah, I mean, there were so many moments of discovery, I would say, and learning moments during this entire residency. I mean, Sonia is an incredible educator, but also a very inspiring practice.
oh yeah.
A very gifted editor as well.
Oh yeah.
A very gifted curator as well.
Correct. Cosign.
Really, really magnificent company. Magnificent company. I would say the paper making.
Yeah.
There's an alchemy
Yeah.
that was revealed there.
Oh yeah.
And yes, it is very physical work, but magic to know that you can create paper from something in your backyard.
Literally in the yard.
And I'm very much about controlling the means of production. I know it's adding up for some of you, and yes,
Oh, yes.
that is who I am.
As you should be.
And that is the kind of energy that we need in the Caribbean, because food sovereignty.
Thank you.
Hello, sovereignty around expression. Okay?
Absolutely.
Let me give the mic to someone else.
From banana.
Come on, we here for this. We here for this.
From banana pancakes to vegan fish fingers, right, to paper making.
Yes.
The banana
Right.
Don't
is a
forget the
miracle
cocoa plum,
plant.
like all of
Oh,
it.
yeah.
The answers are in the land.
They are.
We are
They
not
are.
a part from nature.
Thank
we
you.
are part of nature. Everything
Please.
is there for us. Trust and believe.
Now,
And indigenous people have shown us this for how many thousands of years?
I don't know, but
Okay.
just now we will get fed up at talking. Who on the bus, and who not on the bus.
on the bus. Now, for the Grand Bahamas participants, I know you needed a visa to come to Nassau. What was your favorite part of your residency?
Do you want to go first?
Okay, I would have to echo Tracy. If I had to pick something, it would be the paper making. But then I have a second. Of course, Andros is way up there. But the very special, the unique part is you said alchemy. I was thinking what I was thinking of was alchemy of proximity. The fact that Grand Bahama and Nassau,
And
because
Nassau.
because you live in Nassau.
I
even though
do.
you're
I
from
do indeed.
Freeport. Being in the same space with you is what made the difference. I mean, we
Yeah.
could have met each other online and been chatting online, but
Truly.
that
Really
felt
physical
that.
closeness,
Really felt that at the
I
Blue
learned
Hole,
so
too.
much. Yes, but I've learned so much
Definitely
just by
coming
being
together.
around them.
No, honestly, I think above everything, it's just Sonia's done such a brilliant job of bringing together personalities that just gel. I feel so at home. I feel and it always sounds like a cliche for people, but when you mean it, it does mean something. It's it feels like family. You know what I mean? It's been really kind of just incredible to restart my creative practice in this way, because I have been taking care of other people's artwork for a very long time. So being able to actually make my own again was terrifying until Sonia, who is a wealth of knowledge, was okay, it's okay, we're just gonna play. And I'm oh, don't threaten me with a good time. Okay. So making paper was incredible. I love being able to do anything with the environment is key. Also learning Carol's knowledge around plant-based dyes is amazing. But also, high key, one of my favorite things was the letterpress. The press was amazing. Because it's you understand why this machine is so incredible. And there's also something I think that's really kind of underpinning all this for a lot of us, which is just that the Caribbean as a region has been so impacted by other people's words and printed material. So when we get to make our own, that's a really truly powerful thing, right? So sovereignty is the word that keeps coming up, because that is what we need and that's what we're working on. That's what it feels like. It feels like an exercise in sovereignty at the press.
Carol?
I think working together, because very much as artists we work in isolation, so it's been a real joy. And just to play, and Sonia, again, your skill and your expertise, the mindfulness of your work is time allowing. That's something I aspire to, that mindful approach and thoughtfulness about every little detail. And the patience even... when I ripped my thing yesterday, that the day before that we were allowed to, we could laugh about
when
it.
we were backing the fabric.
It
was fine. It backed beautifully. Yeah,
but anyway, so it's
Some man like that too, you just can't beat them like that. They rip. The tender and delicate.
It's all been amazing, but I think the paper making again, because I'm into sustainable processes that I can do without having to rely on freight forward and things like that. So yeah.
And if I could just say one more thing about Sonia, there's the whole wealth of knowledge, assets, yes, but there's something unique about your energy because I'm very wound up as I'm trying to learn.
Right.
And others of us, you heard the stories, but you have this approach like, okay, that's fine, get over it.
Right,
All we have
right,
to do now
right.
is blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And it's like,
literally, you can't dwell on it because we have
okay.
stuff to do.
I think that some people listening to this would be very surprised to hear that. Hi, Mom. Thanks for listening.
That's so cute.
Because I can panic.
oh my goodness, wow.
But like, you can't have everybody panicking.
No, well, this
Right.
is the thing.
You're steering
I'm
the ship.
Okay, let's see. I think because I teach a lot of people who consider themselves not artists at the press through workshops. And so they'll come and they'll be like, we'll do silkscreen printing. They'll be like, oh, I don't know how to draw. I'm like, it's okay.
Right.
Find an image you like, or here's some stencils, or with making a book, everyone's really nervous about like doing it wrong, And I'm like, everything is reversible in book arts, and then you find out later some things aren't. But for the most part, I'm like, just let me know. We'll cover your corner. We'll just peel this back up. It's not dried yet. It's okay, So
You're gentle parenting people through making.
Too, because I think I fall into that category as well, like I'm a writer, I'm comfortable with words, like that's my ballpark, right? And, again, gentle coaxing.
Right.
Learning lino. And unlocking for myself now a real obsession
Yes.
with lino.
Yes.
And like even becoming more comfortable with creating visual, creating images, which is something that I would often talk myself out of, and I found myself letting go and having so much fun doing that, So I would say that also, like being stretched and, allowing myself the room to jump off a cliff and not really knowing what's going to happen next. And there was real pleasure in that. And not any cajoling or hand-holding, but just, a safe space to explore.
Yeah.
Absolutely. My favorite part of the experience was the silk screen T-shirt making.
that was a fun day.
Yes, it
my God.
was.
And we have to shout out Candida Cash
Yes.
and Margot
Thank you,
Bethel,
Candida.
who are
Thank you,
also
Margot.
like constant
Margot.
resident artists at Poinciana Paper Press for really like holding it down that day with us too, because they brought their knowledge into it. And Alicia Wallace.
Oh, yes,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
Alicia.
Everyone pitched in.
Yes.
Not only was I able to create my T-shirt design, right, but I was able to get a copy of virtually everybody's T-shirt design as well, put on a shirt, except for Luska's mom's design, which I'm so sad about. But it's such a wonderful collaborative experience. I have 5-6 new one-of-a-kind, custom-made art, wearable art pieces.
Absolutely.
By people who I call my friends now.
right, that's right.
First, Bob Ross, what do you call them? Happy
Little Accidents.
Happy Little Accident. It is the best happy little accident I ever had.
Yes.
And so that was my best part. You'll hear me referencing the Gay Wench T-shirt. Plenty. I was able to make that T-shirt at the Poinciana Paper Press, silk screen, T-shirt printing workshop, right? And there's some of the things that you could do as well if you reach out to Poinciana Paper Press. They also organize sort of custom events for people.
Private classes.
I was able
for sure.
to interact with a group of 16-year-olds that had a birthday party where they made T-shirts, and the birthday girl created the design. Miss Farmer made it workable, and then they printed their own T-shirts, and they had a wonderful time.
Like, what a great birthday for a teenager. Just that.
It was just wonderful. Okay, so, producer, how much time we have left?
5 minutes.
There we go.
Good.
So, tell us about, quickly, the piece of work that you want the audience to look for. That thing that perhaps best describes your work, your practice, or your ethos in one piece.
And also, you could include how to more about your work.
Yes.
Website or Instagram handle or whatever,
Social
so people
media
can find out more
presence,
about you.
all of that.
All right. Well, you can find some of my work at tracyassing.com. You can watch the film The Amerindians, which I think kind of sets the tone for understanding my work and my approach to my work. There's some of my poetry up there as well, and some essay writing. I don't update it as often as I should, and I definitely, there should be a new post on there about the Lucayan Archipelago residency. So look out for it, because it really has been such a moving experience, and one that will inspire me for many years to come. And I definitely hope that I can return to the Bahamas as well.
We hope so too.
Better bring mangoes. Better bring mangoes.
Yes, and maybe with a new recipe for the menu.
Yes. Double Shadow Benny.
Yes. I'll have to come through with my own Shadow Benny. But yes, check out tracyasling.com. The Amerindians is a good way to introduce you to my work, but really the site is going to provide a lot of tasty bits for what exists and what's to come.
All right, Lisa Codella?
I would say, first of all, you can find me at lisacodella.com. If I had to choose a piece, it's actually in a private collection, but it's a vessel, earthenware, and it was hand-formed, and I call it The Formation of Dreams. And it's subtle uses of stains and some special markings that I had on there that I feel like sometimes dreams aren't very clear and your direction is not very clear, but when you set out, they'll unfold as you go along.
All right. Natalie?
Right. For me, I guess I kind of am like floating around a lot of different ways of making and things, but if you want to see my work, you can go to nwilliscurator.com. And probably, I guess, one of the shows, I think, because I'm thinking about my curation right now, probably the show I think that would be a really good entry point for my work would be the Double Dutch that I hosted, or not hosted, that I curated for the museum here at the National Art Gallery Bahamas. And that was called Ancestral, Remains to be Seen. And it was pairing up the work of a Bahamian and a Trini artist, because big fan of Trinis. And I really believe in this sort of pan-Caribbean collaboration just as a working method for Caribbean creatives.
All right, awesome. Carol?
On carolsorendoartist.com. I have got a website with quite a lot of work on there. One of my, the proudest project, I guess, was the globe I created for the World Reimagined, which featured 9 plants, which looked at the entanglement of history of plants, which went from cassava right through to cannabis, and looking at the history of the plants. And that was on a huge globe, which is now housed as part of Reading University Special Collections in the UK.
Because I just saw the Botany of Desire, and it's like, so you did that for the Caribbean African Transatlantic Slave Experience?
Yes, so it was the World Reimagined who commissioned 109 globes, sculptural globes that were painted by individual artists. And they were touring the UK for quite a while. So.
Wow.
I just
want you all to know that I went to Carol last because I may not have gotten to the rest of y'all if we had started with Carol Sorendo's portfolio is just prolific.
Extensive.
Extensive. Amazing. Anyway.
No man.
All of the artists who participated in this year's residencies at Poinciana Paper Press are just amazing. It's been inspirational to work with them, alongside them, in the same space as them. It's just been a wonderful time. So make sure that you take some time out to check out Poinciana Paper Press. Also, Fresh Milk, Barbados.
Yes.
Online.
Yes.
Can I do a plug for Art Lucaya as well?
Oh, absolutely. We should have a plug for Art Lucaya.
It's the largest gathering of Grand Bahamas artists and high school artists as well, adult and high school. And so if you're not already planning to be in Freeport, April 17th tonight, make some reservations. You don't want to miss it.
Absolutely. Co-signed.
Absolutely. Sonia, give us a word.
Sure. So if you want to find out more about Poinciana Paper Press, you can just go to our website, poincianapaperpress.com. We are disengaging from social media, so I don't really post too much on there. It's not the best use of our time or resources, I think. Tracy outlined some of those reasons earlier about the internet not really being a free democratic space. But however, sometimes I post just newsletter updates. So if you go to our Instagram at Poinciana Paper Press, you can find out more about what we've done in the past, which is what we keep doing even if we're not posting it. And you can sign up for our newsletter through a link in our bio there.
Absolutely. And just before we get to the closing, I have a friend named Lucas Kagan in Abaco, and his art show is still up and running. He opened on Thursday, February the 12th. It was a wonderful time, but go and check it out. It's still up. Have a great time in Abaco. Grand Bahama,
Thank you.
Andros, New Providence, Elutra. Sonia, next year we're taking them to Elutra, into the Preacher's Cave to see if they could make dye with the red dirt. Anyway,
With cohort number 3, hopefully.
Yes, I love it. I love it.
Absolutely.
And we must mention the indigenous names of all the islands. So Kyrie for Trinidad, Guana Hani for Bahamas, and Waitu Kubuli for Dominica. Oh,
There you go.
Thank you.
Blessings, blessings.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas.